agree.
They have assisted our officers in solving numerous crimes.
That power on display after the Brown University shooting. The technology helping track down the gunman who went on the run after opening fire, killing 2 students and injuring 9 others.
And Rachel, Flock saying criminal acts like vandalism have no place here, even as people continue to voice their opinions in this ever-growing debate about individual privacy versus public safety. Rachel.
Oh man, coastal Georgia is growing fast, but are our roads, infrastructure, and local communities actually keeping up? Tonight, we are sitting down with Georgia House District 161 candidate David Dillie to talk growth, pooler traffic, the massive Effingham data center, flock cameras, and the big question, who ultimately pays for all of this growth? Plus, our local spotlight tonight, we have Jennifer with Rincon Nutrition. Yeah. So we have a lot to get into tonight. So grab your favorite drink, jump into live chats, tell us where you're watching from, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to this episode of The Mark Sip. My name is Patrick Don from eXp Realty, part of the Johnson Group, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brandon Giebler. And I'm super excited. We have David Dillie back on. So for those of you that were expecting Greg Dolezal, he had some other things he had to do. So we're hoping to have him on later. He just did the time, didn't work out. So that's all right. But we had David Dillie. I reached out to David. He was like, heck yeah, I'm coming on. I'm totally down. And there's been a ton of things that's happened since we had David on last time, from the Effingham thing that happened, right? With what was that? With the Effingham thing? What was that?
The Effingham with the data center?
Oh, the data centers. Yeah, they had the data center thing that's going on there, right? So we had Flock's camera issues. People get fired from Flock because of Flock reasons. So I'm super excited to have him on tonight. But of course, if you're looking to buy or sell or looking for some market advice in real estate, well, hit down below in the QR codes. Give me or Brandon a call, and we definitely love to help you. Of course, this show is about you and your questions, not about us. We give them the softball questions. You give them the hard ones. So give them the hard questions. Come on, guys. Bring the heat.
We love a good hard question.
So I'm glad to have him on. But who's our local spotlight here, Brandon?
So we have a good one. You know, everyone's on their little health kicks right now. We have Jennifer with Rincon Nutrition. Welcome.
Hey, Jennifer. Thank you for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. All right, Brandon, we got 5 minutes on the clock. Is your 5 minutes for your local spotlight? We ready? You ready, buddy?
Yeah. Go.
All right. Go. All right. Jennifer, for someone who's never been into Rincon Nutrition, what is it all about?
It is healthy items instead of things that are high in sugar. We have loaded teas that have less than a gram of sugar. They have 200 milligrams of caffeine, which can be cut down to less. It has all your vitamins, and they look and taste like a Kool-Aid. And we have several other different options for teas that include different things.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay, so say I was being that person right now, and it's my first visit, and I don't know what to order. What would you choose to make me?
Jennifer, can you hear Brandon when he's talking?
No.
Okay, Brandon, I think you're having the same audio issues I had last week. That's right. I got you, Jennifer. You ready? So if it's my first visit, I've been there a couple of times, so I've had some of your great protein shakes already, me and Thaddeus. But if it was my first time coming in, what would you make me?
Well, that depends. We would ask you, are you looking for something for energy or more for a meal replacement? If you were looking for more energy, we would probably start you off with a loaded tea that I was just talking about. If you're looking for more of a meal replacement, we have our protein shakes, and we have lots of to choose from. They have 24 to 27 grams of protein, anywhere from 5 to 10 grams of sugar. They have all your vitamins in that from the protein, and it's a soy protein. But we also have a post-workout. If you had just worked out and you want to change that up, we take the soy out and we do whey and casein.
Nice. Okay. All right. So, hello, y'all says, I love this. Jennifer, do y'all have something for us menopausal ladies that help with the exhaustion?
Well, our loaded teas would help with that, and we have our beauty line also that has it has less caffeine. It has 150 milligrams, but it also has biotin and collagen. And we have a specialty drink that is also a tea, but it is the all-in-one. It's got the vitamins, the caffeine, it's got biotin and collagen, it's got 17 grams of protein to kind of give you like a snack in a cup. But like
Wow.
again, that's less than a gram of sugar in all of those.
Holy cow. That's one drink with all of that and less than 1 gram of sugar?
Yep.
Wow.
And we also do non-caffeinated drinks, and we also do protein coffees.
Okay. Yeah, I did see the protein coffees. Which one is your favorite protein coffee? Like, what flavors do you have?
I have caramel mocha, chocolate mocha, hazelnut, um, pumpkin spice,
Ooh.
pralines, toasted marshmallow, toasted turtle. We have a lot to choose from.
Who needs Starbucks when you can go to Rincon Nutrition? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we do have a lot to choose from, more so than people think.
Okay. So what makes your loaded teas and milkshake different from a typical energy drink and milkshakes? Is it just a sugar difference?
Well, if you're, a lot of people come in and they say, "Oh, I drink Red Bull and this, that, and the other." Ours is a much healthier. Doctors have invented it and tested it out and everything. Again, the sugar content, you can get a sweet taste, you can have a tart taste, but ultimately they're all less than a gram of sugar, and any sugar that is involved is stevia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give us 3 picks. Your best drink for energy, your best dessert style drink, and your personal favorite.
Um, we have several that sell really well. As far as a loaded tea, we have strawberry colada that's real popular. We have a Bahama Mama. We have a unicorn and a beach please. We have lots of those to start off with. Most people want to start off with a loaded tea and then work their way up to all the other stuff. But some people come in and go full blast. As far as the shake, caramel cake is probably my favorite, and I recommend that a lot of people. When they come in and have never had one, I'll tell them our most popular are the caramel cake and salted caramel, which is real similar, and banana pudding, cinnamon toast crunch. And then we have a lot of cheesecakes that are pretty good too.
Yeah, I wanted to try the peanut butter cheesecake one, but they didn't do the after workout for that, right?
That is the
Uh,
only one we cannot do post workout, the only one.
but I did do the cinnamon toast crunch one. That was really, really delicious.
Good.
And and I think Thaddeus had a banana milkshake one. So we
Banana
like those
pudding.
after we leave the gym. We go over there to Rincon Nutrition, grab us a couple shakes. So it's really good. So is there anything we didn't ask you that you wanted to tell everybody?
Um, just come in and see us. We'll help you pick something out. We do that a lot of times. We have people that come in knowing what they want and then completely change it. We're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 2. We will take call-in orders. And if it's really local, we try to do some deliveries if we're
All right.
able.
All right. Well, fantastic. If you don't know where she's at, if you're going into Rincon from Port Wentworth, you got the Parkers in the middle, the little middle place is on the left-hand side if you're driving into Rincon. If you're coming out of Rincon, it's on the right-hand side, okay? All right. Well, thank you, Jennifer, so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. You have a great day, okay?
Thanks. You too.
All right. That was awesome. Hey, man, I've been there a couple of times. I'm telling you right now, the shakes are really good. You got to make sure, though, like I said, me and Thad came out from a workout. We wanted workout stuff. I didn't know there's differences. So make sure if you came from workout, get the workout one.
I love a good banana shake.
Heck yeah. It was banana pudding is what it was. So
Even better.
Yeah. So good. And if you look in the chat, you can go to their Facebook page right there and all that good stuff. So, all right. Now, let's bring in our guest, David Dillie. Let's bring him on. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
How y'all
Long time no
doing?
see.
Oh, it's good to see y'all again. Good to see y'all again. No, I like that place too. I've been there a couple times myself. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, you know what, when we start canvassing these neighborhoods, we just ordered You can't see it, but it says, "Don't be silly, vote for Dillie." We got a bunch of these. Start canvassing here real soon. Definitely gonna need to stop by and get a few drinks myself.
Yeah, you got to refresh yourself. Get some protein drinks up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when you go into all right, so you said you've been in there. What did you get?
I remember there was a chocolate shake we got at one point. It'd been a little while since I've been there, but I remember they had like a chocolate protein shake that we had liked.
They got tons of flavors. I mean,
over there. Yeah. I would definitely need to go there again, though, for sure.
Definitely. It's good. All right. So, Davis, there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on since you've been here last. I mean, we saw you yelling at people out at the open AI open house thing.
yeah. That was an interesting week, to say the least.
Tell me, give me your thoughts on that whole open house thing.
It was. What's what I'm looking for? It was definitely very, very interesting. So I remember it was a day or two prior to the thing. They just kind of dropped the ball, as everybody knows. They just said, "Hey, look, we're doing this." Oh, and then like, "Oh, by the way, here's also this, this town hall we're going to try to do." And it was very last minute. And a lot of us were sitting here chit-chatting. We're like, "Oh, are there going to be a lot of people?" This felt really forced last minute. And a lot of us were just like, "Well, hopefully we can get enough people." So we contacted as many people as we could. We had great organizers. We had great organizations across the state that were like, "We're going to send people. We're going to come help. We're going to provide resources." And I mean, we had over 1,000 people show up in less than 48 hours notice. And that was amazing. And it was really, really cool to see, just how the community came together so fast. It came together so fast, people didn't even think it was real. And I thought that was the funniest part. Well, there were people online like, "Oh, they must have been paid people. They must have paid people to come protest it." Like, there was just no way. And I was like, "No, you're building one of the largest data centers in the state. We're going to show up when you decide to just drop that in our backyards." Right in my district too. Yeah, right in the middle of my district, you're going to drop that. Obviously, people are going to show up, and they're not going to be happy. And, you can say, "Oh, well, there's some people happy with it." Cool. 10% of the people might be happy with it when the other 90% aren't. Obviously, you're going to have lots of people show up. And if you gave us a week's notice, there probably would have been 2,000 or 3,000 people there.
Right.
So you're lucky you only got 1,000, because they probably would have doubled it. That parking lot would have been full. And they actually even said there was people parking on the side of the road. I was protesting the whole time or inside, so I didn't get to see it. They were saying people walked all the way from Love's gas station. They parked, right down the road and walked all the way over. So I wasn't expecting that when I pulled up, to be honest. Yeah, there was tons of everybody from all across Effingham. It was great. We had people from Savannah too, Port Wentworth. I would still say, I think when someone told me, majority of it was still Effingham. A lot of people, that was one of the things people talked about. Is they said there was a lot of people from Savannah, and they were like, "No," from the numbers that we got, from the signatures that they got, majority were from Effingham, and that was just really amazing to see.
Hey, Brandon, can you speak real quick? I want to make sure you can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Yep.
All right, excellent. All right, good. You want to hit that chat real quick there, Brandon, before we get to our first question? Yeah, that thing was nuts out there, man. And I'm telling you, they're going to have that new one. We're going to talk about the informational talk here in the questions, so don't worry about that.
Yeah. Right. So, hey, Joshua. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Okay, y'all. Hey, girl. How are you? Thanks for helping. We love you. Corey wants to see if he can get a milkshake now.
They're closed at 5, buddy. Sorry.
Hey, Corey. Wake up earlier. I don't know. They got all of Patrick's Facebook stuff, and it was some diabolical work someone had said.
Absolutely, it was.
That's why you
all right. So the flock camera issue is becoming more and more relevant. I don't know if you saw. So since we spoke, the flock issue's got much bigger. We've seen employees fired in Savannah over alleged misuse, civilian employees and police officers. Mm-hmm. They have criminal charges coming involving deputies elsewhere in Georgia. And now Flock itself is announcing tighter safeguards.
Yeah, that's 6 former employees with Savannah Police Department are facing a criminal investigation for allegedly misusing a high-tech surveillance camera system used for tracking license plates. The technology has been hit with vandalism, lawsuits, and public protests in recent months, but supporters say it's vital to solving crimes. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Tonight, 6 former Savannah Police Department employees are now under criminal investigation. They were recently fired for allegedly misusing these controversial surveillance cameras made by the company Flock.
Totally honest, I'm disappointed. I'm pissed off about it.
The high-tech, AI-powered cameras read license plates and store that data for police departments to use. Over 120,000 now deployed nationwide. But backlash growing amid reports of misuse. Dozens of officers now charged or accused of using the technology inappropriately, including stalking.
Dozens of cases. Dozens. That's more than 12, obviously. That's more than 24.
Yeah, and who knows how many haven't been reported.
Right. So do you think it's enough for individual police departments and a private company to police themselves, or does Georgia need statewide laws governing who can search this data, how long it can be kept, and who it can be shared with?
That's an interesting one. I've never been a big personal fan of flock cameras myself. Everyone's, some people say, well, we've already had highway cams. We already have, even before flock got real big, I remember getting pulled over for Wentworth. And they said, oh, well, we caught you on the highway cam speeding, so we pulled you over. Okay, so they've used this stuff in the past, but now it's one thing to, I guess, in my brain, it's one thing to be on the highway, it's one thing to be on the freeway, but it's another when you're right in my neighborhood. There's one right in my neighborhood. Like, the second I drive out, I turn right, there it is. Like, you literally see it when I leave every single day. And so it definitely bothers you to some degree that someone could just sit there and watch you. They're like, right. Oh, well, it's supposed to, a lot of people talk about the safety of it. Of course, I've heard cases where they've caught criminals due to them and how great they could be. But at the same time, you also, like I said, now we're seeing these cases come up where officers are watching their wives, wondering what they're doing. You can stalk kind of whoever you want to. And of course, we need state regulations that say, look, you can't do that. Now, where I would say, of course, my personality, I want to take them all down. But if we're like, okay, cool, we have to live with this, then you can only use this if there's an active crime investigation that you have to do. Cool. This criminal, murderer, whatever you want to call it, left their house. Cool. We can kind of put the pieces together. They've done that a couple times. But at the end of the day, I don't need you watching me when I leave my house, when I go to the store, when I go to Home Depot. Home Depot's got 4, right? In Pooler, they got 4 of them in their parking lot. When am I buying, when I go, buy something for handyman stuff, I go there. Well, you're going to figure out what tools I'm buying. What time did I leave it? I'm already being watched enough on my phone. They can track pretty much anything.
And listening.
Endlessly. Yeah. I don't think you also need live footage of what I'm doing too. And that's how I personally feel about it. It's one thing, you're already tracking me on my phone. Most cars nowadays have tracking systems. Most things, it's like, can I just not get video surveillance? Right. I hate to say that, that's like the minimum. I just don't want to be watched. I understand you're going to track me. I understand you're going to follow me, whatever. You're going to understand what data I use, where I go, what I'm doing. But just video surveillance, I think that's definitely my no. I don't, what happens when they start putting it in the neighborhoods? It's one thing to be even on the road in the neighborhood. Now
they put it in your car, dude.
Neighborhoods. You're seeing what people are doing outside their houses. That's just, that doesn't, yeah.
They're putting it in your car.
Does not make you feel comfortable.
It's a terrible time to have a stalker. I'm just saying.
Oh my God! I mean, it's just. Can you just imagine? Like, it's just you could just do. Oh my God! And here's the thing I want to know about this, right? Think about this, David.
Yeah.
Did they tell the people that they were stalking once they got caught that they were being stalked? Because that should be charged.
I imagine most of them have stayed quiet. Yeah, I imagine they probably they got caught, but I don't know for sure. This is my best guess. This is not the facts of the situation. More than likely what ended up happening, I imagine they have to log stuff, or I imagine they can see when the officers are using them. And eventually somebody got caught. They probably asked, what were you doing? And eventually they had to cough up what they were doing because there's obviously a log. That's one thing that is great. A lot of times they have to keep logs for stuff. I imagine it wasn't, just, oh, yeah, they caught them in the act watching it. Now, I imagine they logged it. They saw the officers went on there and were like, what'd you do? What were you doing? There was nothing going on over there. Oh, well, I was kind of watching my wife, or I was kind of looking at this person. I was stalking an ex. And that's just crazy. Just to even be able to do that, it's ridiculous. It's very, very much ridiculous.
If you have to stalk your spouse, they probably shouldn't be your spouse. Just saying. But
yeah, I imagine there's more things you can do than just, just sit there and
You could put a little tracker on their car or something. You don't have to.
There you go. Track the car. Go buy your own thing. Whatever you want to do. Put cameras all over your house. That's your house. Do what you want with your property.
Right.
But now you're using our money to be able to just stalk us.
I was going to ask the chat. I'm curious about what you guys thought about the flock, but it seems like y'all beat me to it a little bit. hate flock. Yeah, Joshua hates flock. The stalking stuff is insane and scary. No more privacy. That is so scary because what if the people were stalking were victims of DV. That's insane.
Domestic violence, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can also be a case, exactly. You know, what's the extent? I've also heard there's plenty of cases around the country of people hacking them. You know, now, like I said, that's also a big thing.
Yeah,
oh, look at this cop right here.
Yeah, now they're combining the flock with your phone GPS data. They scan your Bluetooth and stuff.
Exactly.
So
it's like I said. Now imagine you've got people breaking into these cameras. I've heard they're not hard to hack at all. You know, they're not really built on security. You know, another fear I've heard from people is what parts are they using? Are they using parts from other countries? Can these countries have access to these parts? And so now, let alone you've got companies who might have access to the data. They say they don't, but you know.
Oh, they're selling that.
Yeah. You know, you've got, issues when it comes down to, like I said, we've now seen with Savannah, police abusing it. You know, what happens if somebody hacks it? What happens if, the parts they're using were manufactured in the country and they know how it's built so they can, be able to stock it. It's just, at the end of the day, you don't feel safe. And I hate to say that, a lot of people are like, oh, well, as long as you don't do anything wrong, I don't want to just be watched. I think I should be able to set a limit of, okay, cool. In safety, I get it. But I don't want to give up my liberties, all of my liberties, just to feel in a little bubble we're being watched and surveillance 24/7. I am okay. I'm okay.
I'm curious because I don't have kids, and I've seen a bunch of videos on this. Like they have flock cameras like facing like kids' playgrounds and swimming holes and stuff. Like, does that make you like uncomfortable, or does that make you feel better that if someone was there that they would get caught?
Yeah, like somebody's watching for you. That's the discussion where a lot of people do end up arguing over these. Is like I said, you giving up your safety. You're giving up. You're not giving up your safety. You're getting safety, but you're giving away your liberties. You're not. Oh well. I put my kids in the park, and I know if something happens, we have footage. They'll be okay. But on the other hand, like I said, now they're watching your kid from day one. It gets pretty messy. At the end of the day. And like I said, we've heard of great cases where they've caught criminals, where they've caught bad people, where they were able to track where cars went. But like I said, on the other hand, we see the abuse. And there definitely needs to be rules and regulations for this for sure. Personally, the biggest thing for me is we can discuss the highways, we can discuss the roads. You guys already have traffic cams, fine. I can have that little middle road with you guys. But at the end of the day, putting them in shopping stores, not a fan of. Putting them in neighborhoods, not a fan of. There's limits to things, and that's where I'm like, no. If you want to put it on the highway, fine. Is it cheaper to maybe install than a highway cam? Okay, maybe. But to just stalk us 24/7 from the second I leave my neighborhood to the second I go to the store to the second I leave is just too much. It's just too much.
Okay, so what's the plan when you get to the state level? Like, what's the game?
I've heard
plan
different people talking about it. For sure, there's been I've talked with a few different state legislators that want to put protections in place. I've talked to ones that say, hey, look, if I've heard the extremes of they're only allowed to use it if they're actively looking for somebody. Other than that, you're not allowed to access, and it has to be, approved by a judge. Basically saying a judge must authorize you to open look at these cameras and look at through the stuff. I've heard ones, the opposite end of it, where we need to build more of them. It's great for safety. And so I imagine this year on the House floor, it's going to be an argument. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be supporting any pro-flock camera bills.
Right.
But we'll see what ends up happening. I always tell you I have to work with 179 other people, and each one of us has got a different opinion. We might agree generally, but each one of us has a line. For me, we can talk about highways and freeways. I'm not a fan of anywhere else. But some people might be like, oh, well, it's okay to put on the streets. Some people might feel like it's okay what they're doing now. And so we'll see what ends up happening at the House floor this year. I imagine there's a lot of bills that are going to be coming and passing through this year.
Right. We have Patrick. You can relate to John Smith. I was attacked by another vehicle that threw a rock at my vehicle.
I've got through literally 4 windshields in the past 2 years. It's pissing me off. And I got hit again just recently last week, and I'm like praying that it doesn't crack. And I see this little mark on my window. I'm like, don't crack. Please don't crack. So I feel you, John. Thank you for watching. Uma's here. Thank you. Got to watch Fahrenheit 451. Definitely.
Oh my gosh, yes. I remember reading it in school. You're going to talk about 451. Yeah, I've been reading a little bit about that. Some stuff that's been happening with that for sure.
All right.
That sounded familiar, but I didn't read it.
I didn't either. I need to watch the movie. All right. So, Dave, we've already talked with you about Effingham County Data Center. We already know that you don't support them. Residents are now getting more opportunities to learn about the project and ask questions, but many of the major decisions have already been made. So they're doing the informational session here. They're going to have all these doctors, Dr. Ahmed Saeed from Georgia Tech. They got all these doctors from Georgia Tech, the commissioner, Roger Burdett, and you got someone from the IDA that's coming as well. It's going to be at 6:30, and they're going to be doing it at the Herald Center.
Yep.
So that's at 1204 North Columbia Avenue in Rincon. So if you're from the area, hook it up. All right. So should Georgia require a higher level of public notice, disclosure, and possibility of a public vote before local governments approve projects that's this large?
Of course, at the end of the day, I mean, that's what it's all about, trying to be with your community. That was something that's kind of interesting. So I was at the last county commissioners meeting through Effingham, and it was kind of interesting. Of course, it was packed room. They had overflow people. They had people waiting in the hallway. I was lucky enough. I got there early enough. It poured down rain like right before. I was like soaking wet. There's a couple people there that remember in the chat. I was like soaking wet in rain, and we sat down, and they were trying. It felt like they didn't really want to talk about it at all that night. And then luckily, I think her name was Beth Hemley. Yeah, Hemley. Yeah. She ended up speaking up about it. She, eventually they finally, I felt like they broke the awkward silence. And she finally just said, "I'm not a fan. Here's my hard stance on it. And we really need to host a county commissioner town hall on this, and also even consider talking about a county moratorium." And it was definitely interesting to see, because like I said, let me tell you, like you could tell everybody wanted to talk about it. And she finally broke it. And there were ones that did not like that she brought it up. And you can kind of tell they're like, oh my gosh, of course,
Really?
They knew they had to eventually talk about it, but you could just feel the tension in that room at that moment. And they got a little snippy a couple times. And eventually they're like, oh, well, we might end up doing a town hall. And I think that's where this ended up coming from, was they talked about doing one where I was hoping, I think a lot of us residents were hoping, was they would do all of them. That they talked about, we're going to bring people in, but like I think the community just kind of wants to talk to you guys, and that's where they first talked. Well, we're going to do it at the county commissioners, town, and I was like, no, you guys need to do it at a high school. You guys need to do it somewhere with this big space. There's going to be a lot of people. You can barely fit 50 people in that room, and now you want the whole county to kind of come ask you about these data centers and ask your opinions. And so eventually, I think this snowballed into what we're seeing with the Effingham here, where we're going to end up. I'll be there attending the entire thing. So we'll see what ends up being said there. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to make a huge speculations. I imagine it's still probably going to be more pro data center than against. We'll probably hear, I think we're definitely going to still hear more pro than negatives. I was cool to see that Roger Burdett will be there as one of the county commissioners talking. Of course, he's up for re-election. It's being built right next to his district, right in his district. So of course he has to come talk about it. So I was good to at least see some county commissioner there. I wanted all of them to be there to answer to everybody, but instead they brought in a couple people, which is great. I love bringing experts, have people talk about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it still feels very, very pro data center. The group that's putting it on has been pretty, pro data center. The chairperson has been pretty pro data center. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be there. Hopefully we get to speak. That's the biggest thing.
People are going to be that naive. Are they going to be, David? I mean, they're going to have these doctors sit up there telling them what to think.
No, of course not. That's what I said. I think
going to be cool with that.
Yeah, no, I still think at the end of the day, this is just something they're trying to make us feel warm and fuzzy about. And like I said, at the end of the day, there's definitely people that are in the middle, and I think they're kind of hoping to flip those last people. Just to get, I would say it's election year. So they're trying to just give us those last people. Like, it's not that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. It's not bad for the reasons you think it is. It may be bad for a different reason, and that's something we can't control. But this is the reason why it might be good.
You're just going to feel a little warm if you live next to it.
No, I was going to say a big thing also, though, we'll see what ends up happening. That's all I really feel about it. Like I said, I'll attend there. I'll be there. I'll, try to bring as much information as I can. I'll be there to talk to residents as well after each meeting. But Perfect. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. Let's see what they decide to bring, what facts they decide to bring, and I'll be here.
John says the voters should decide. I mean, that's the problem. Not happening. And then we have inviting experts to take the heat off the county officials.
Exactly.
We all know a buffer when we see one. And we got this. People are tired of the lack of transparency and accountability among our local officials, elected officials. There needs to be an easier way to get them out besides recall. Oh, yeah. Agreed. Do you have any ideas for citizen reportings for when you are elected?
Citizens reporting. I'm more than likely guessing you mean saying we find something criminal that I'm more than likely guessing city council or county commissioners that you feel as though it might need to get reported. There has been a lot of discussions. A lot of people brought a lot of ideas to me. Some people are like, I've got the legislation ready. I just need you to win, Mr. Dillie. Where they get a certain amount of percentage of voters and 20-30% of voters agree that the city council person is clearly doing something wrong and they need to be investigated. There's been, someone's like, I'm ready to let's put this down. I haven't taken a look at the bill yet, but someone's definitely brought it to my attention. I've had a lot of bills brought to my attention going, please, let's bring this up. Let's bring this up. I didn't necessarily hate the idea. Of course, I'd have to figure out, the actual legalities of it, how it would actually end up doing. I definitely believe there needs to be tighter grips on how we can control ourselves as citizens. And also, if we know there's something violations doing wrong and it feels like it's taking forever, that's a big thing where a lot of people, we should be able to just go to our attorney general and be like, there's clearly something wrong. Can you please investigate? Hey, GBI, there's clearly something wrong. And a lot of people say, well, we've done that, and they just don't seem to care. And that has been something that's been constant about this campaign, is the lack of caring from upper government to all the way down. Some people definitely, I've always been told the Good Old Boys Club, and that has been very, very clear in this campaign, the Good Old Boys Club. It's everyone protecting each other. No one wants to break bread, because if you break something, the rest of the dominoes fall. And that's something I'm hoping to do. Getting elected is break some dominoes. Let's see what happens, because people have been taking advantage for way too long in my district, in my county, both of my counties. And people are just really tired. They just want, they want to go to a city council meeting and figure out what's the pumpkin patch. Not when you're about to destroy thousands of acres of land, they don't want to hear every single meeting. It's just something awful and awful and awful. I at least remember growing up as a kid, almost every city council meeting was about awards most of the time. Oh, we're celebrating this. We're doing this. We're doing this. Not here. We're about to destroy 500 acres here. We're about to do this, Yes, PCS. Yes. Yes, I'm excited. Yeah. Make sure it's something I've also been telling people about very, very clearly about this November is make sure you look up who your candidates are for PCS. It's very, 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 very important. They can stop this data center faster than anybody else can.
Well, I think they're on board with it.
To the data center, there ain't no data center. So,
okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, I like John said the COC event is propaganda event. They're filtering our questions to the squad. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm about to say I haven't looked at a whole lot into the event. I just know the day. It's on my calendar schedule. But PSC, sorry, PSC, not PCS, PSC, Public Service Commissioner.
There you go. Okay. All right. So let's now talk about Pooler. Okay.
A development proposal that could transform Pooler is now on hold.
Pooler City Council has decided to postpone a vote on rezoning for a project called the District. Now, this is a major project, 100-acre mixed-use project until a later date because the council decided to wait until they got more information before voting.
That's right. The development includes about 1,000 apartments, 400 hotel rooms, grocery store, restaurants, shopping, office space, and an amphitheater. It would be built near Pooler Parkway and Pine Barren Road. Now, several residents voiced their concerns about all the traffic and congestion.
We moved from near Tanger area because the traffic had gotten so bad, and now we're out that side of town, and it's kind of following, and it takes 20 minutes to go a mile on Pooler Parkway.
Meantime, supporters of the plan say it would give Pooler a walkable downtown destination where people can spend their free time without having to drive elsewhere.
I want to go somewhere where I can take my future kids out to go to a trail, out to the park, out to the green spaces, or enjoy some live music outside. That's what I want, and I feel like the District of Pooler is going to bring that. And
now, the developer says if everything stays on track and it's approved, the district could open as early as 2028.
The district has drawn major pushback over traffic and infrastructure. At what point do elected officials have to say we can't keep approving development until the roads catch up?
Yeah. No, I remember talking to somebody about this project, and it kind of made me laugh when they said this. I said, sometimes we're frustrated that Pooler keeps trying to be like Savannah, and it's just not. And once someone was talking about it, I said, if they want to do stuff like this, they should have done it 20 years ago. Not, you randomly built a bunch of things, and now you're trying to stuff more in. If you wanted to be Savannah, then you should have built like Savannah. You should have built the same way. You should have done the same infrastructure. You should have made it look like a whole homey small town, big town, small town vibes. Y'all know what Savannah's like, And so they say, if you want to do that, you should have done it a long time ago. Now you're trying to force that now when there isn't the space, there isn't the proper infrastructure. These areas, I always tell everybody, my grandparents drove farming and horseback and did off these roads. They just kind of kept the same roads, put some pavement on, and kept at the end of the day. And now we're surprised that it's not keeping up. These were farming roads. These were tractor roads. These were not made for huge city paths, but we're forcing them to be. And that was something, I was talking with people at Georgia Highway, and they were just like, we told them 15 years ago not to do this. We told them 10 years ago to do that. 5 years ago, we told them not to do this. And they just keep building. We say stop, you keep doing. We have to figure it out.
Wait, who said stop?
One of my family members sits high on a highway. Dang it! 1 second. What's it called? I can't see. Remember the government agency, and I don't want to get
the GDOT.
Yeah, GDOT. Yeah, GDOT. Yeah. One of my family members sat high up on there, and I was talking with him about it, and he was like, "We've told them 15 years ago not to do this. We told them 10 years ago not to do this. We told them 5 years ago not to do this, and they just kept doing it. And they keep forcing us to just redraw and make it work and figure it out, and it just becomes a hot mess." And so, that's what we're seeing right now. Like I said, you went from farming roads to now full on traffic. And I feel it every day. I drive the same path just like everybody else in my district. 21, crazy. Going to Pooler, crazy. I avoid Pooler on my weekends unless I really, really need to go down there. I'm just like, I just don't feel like dealing with it. I'll go to Guyton before I end up going to Pooler most of the time, just because I don't want to deal with the traffic of Pooler. Let alone if school happens. Oh my gosh, there's school traffic and you got work traffic and it's just a hot podge of a community sometimes it feels like. And with no future visions besides more infrastructure, besides more apartments and hotels and fun. And I love it. Infrastructure's, we need to really focus on the infrastructure. We really need to figure out, okay, cool, what can we do to expand these roads? If we need to stop for a second and just look at how we can expand roads, heck, they were talking about building another train route through Pooler. It's like, there's got to be, a breaking point at some point.
Could you imagine sitting at this red light already 6 times because you can't get through it, and then you get stuck at a train like I did in Garden City that took 25 minutes. I'm curious, all this overdevelopment and everything that's happening. Like, do you personally feel like the developers should be paying for all this infrastructure costs, or should it be on the taxpayers? Because I don't think we're happy about it. Why should we pay?
No.
It's just odd to me. So the issue is the way the city was designed. Whomever was in charge of the city, may they get a warm side of the pillow for eternity. That was, I guess, a delicate way of putting it. Nice. Jeez. Fuller had the opportunity 25 years ago to plan out the future for this very reason. The sitting officials publicly didn't care, just went for more money grabs. Facts. You got more?
Yeah. No. I think no matter what, at the end of the day, everyone's feeling it. All across my district. I think that's definitely. Before the data center, that was pretty much top 2 issues was traffic. Talking about 21, that's something I can, have control over. Of course, there is projects going on with 21. They're just taking forever. Just like most things, they end up taking a long time. And I always make the joke. I said, by the time we get that third lane on 21, we'll need a fourth lane. By the time we get that fourth lane, we'll need a fifth lane. And so it's just slowly coming to pieces. And like I said with the person, I said, they had 25 years ago, and that's what we kind of joked about. If they wanted to be Savannah, we should have built like Savannah. If you wanted to do what they were doing, if you wanted to have people come visit us and be a tourism hotspot, then we should have done that a long time ago. We're not. This is a place where, people live, people do their lives. This is not a tourism zone. It gets frustrating when you try to make it a tourism zone.
Well, what about the guys that are out there saying that they want it for walkability, for the restaurants, for the live music?
But the problem is, even where they're wanting to build it is it's right off the freeway. It's right off the freeway. We know right there. We know that it's right. Yeah, I think it's right across the street from that Lowe's. The location, if I remember correctly, is right across the street.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's at. Yeah.
It's not like you're putting it like this data center. You're not putting it in the middle of a community where the whole community. You're kind of actually putting it. I don't think there is a apartment back there, and there is a few houses back there, but you're still not putting it in like a hard spot and pooler. People are like, oh, it's just walkable. I'm still gonna have to drive to it and go walk. You're not like I imagine there's not going to be much of a bus around. I imagine like I said, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you want walkability, then you should have put it in a near neighborhood. Instead, you just put it further away where everybody still has to drive to it. So if I still got to drive and park at Lowe's to be able to walk this, because basically we're going to see what the parking looks like for it, then it doesn't really make it walkable. It just makes it
sidewalks. We don't even have sidewalks to walk to.
Well, they're going to build all that. So the thought process is like kind of like I think they're thinking like Atlanta, where they're building by the Falcons Arena, all that stuff, where they're building like this nice area where you can walk around.
Yeah. But even Atlanta's walkable. Like that's one thing I was just in
because of that. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and even Atlanta at least has those scooters. Like I said, they're building it for both. You can have cars, but you'd be walkable. This is we want to do walkable, but we still need you to drive your car to get to it. But then you can walk. It's like that doesn't. I want to be able to leave my house or leave my apartment or leave the hotel and straight to walk. If I still have to park or drive to it, it doesn't. It's not the vibes. It's just not the vibes. As my generations like to say, it's just not the vibes.
Well, not to mention, Brandon, how do you feel about they said 1,000 more apartments? Like, how do you feel about that?
I'm so excited because there's already 20,000 of them down Quokka. So what? Another 1,000? What is that going to change? Just it's fine, It's fine.
We get, like I said, all these companies are hiring. They want all these buildings built. They need all these hotels coming. I remember when I first was on the show, that was something we talked about. Hyundai needing more employees. Gulfstream needing more employees. The ports needing more employees. These places are expanding, so they need livable residents. So I understand that it's kind of a pull back and forth where they're like, yes, we've now put all these companies in. They need the employees, and of course, employees need places to live. And so we're kind of being caught in the middle of it, let alone the data center in Effingham. That was just another curveball thrown right at us. But it's a lot to take in. Business is coming, good, bad, or indifferent. It is coming. And so that's just something we really, really need to plan for. And that's something I'm hoping to be able to do with my office is just try to get some more money brought down to us here in coastal Georgia so we can start kind of doing that. One of the things I really want to start talking about is bringing a Southern transportation kind of office where we can start connecting Effingham and Chatham and Bryan and Bullock and Richmond and finally get all of us kind of operating together in transportation wise. So it's not like, okay, cool, I'm leaving Savannah, now I'm stuck in Garden City traffic, then I'm stuck in Port Wentworth traffic, then I'm stuck over here. Oh, then there's only one road that goes down here. Trying to find something region wise because all of us are being affected by this.
Absolutely. All right, no doubt. All right, so we got some chat here there, Brandon. Hit the chat real quick.
All right, so the mosaic was supposed to be walkable. I feel like anything walkable is just right around the Tanger outlets, those apartment complexes that you rent. Great. We need a lawsuit against Effingham County because they are going to steal our water for that dumb data center. Yeah, they are.
All right.
Get them, girl.
Thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate you watching right now. Please hit the like button, share with your friends, tell us about what's going on. If you support what David has to say, share this video with as many people as possible so he can maybe get elected. He is still running for office, by the way. All right, so We're talking about Rincon now. They got big changes going here. So Rincon is now holding public hearings after tentatively adopting what is being advertised as property tax increase. At the same time, residents are watching enormous amounts of development come into this region.
Rincon homeowners who are not used to paying any city property taxes packed council last night because there's a proposal to change that.
Yeah, so the city says they're just swapping an old fee for a transparent property tax, but residents say pump the brakes. Stephen Glover has the story.
The city of Rincon has proposed a millage rate of 2.323 mils, ending its system of zero property tax liability for homeowners since 1998. And that news brought in a crowd during Wednesday night's public hearing.
Just breaking the back of senior citizens, folks. Fixed income. There's nothing that we can do.
We had 3,057 residents in 1998. And I want you to think about, what our budget must have been at that time. And now we've got 13,000 citizens. So in order to run a city, that's what we have to do.
To put that in perspective, let's say you're a homeowner of an average cost home of $300,000 in Rincon. That means you would pay $278 in new annual city taxes. The mayor says all residents currently pay $240 on the current fee structure. He says with this new structure, those whose homes are assessed below the median $300,000 will pay less.
All right. So how do you explain to someone who already lives here why their property tax burden may increase while they're being told all this new development is expanding the tax base?
What a hot mess. That's really what it just feels like. I mean, really, it's just one thing after another for the residents of my district. It's just, like I said, you throw a data center. It's supposed to be able to get rid of your property taxes. Well, only if you're on homestead property tax. Then we'll get rid of your property taxes. But even then, that's still complicated. And then even then, that doesn't start for a while. It only starts when this happens and this happens and this happens. And then now we're also going to increase your property taxes because, we realize that all of you guys don't qualify in it. So we can still get money out of you. And yeah, my residents have not been very happy about this property tax increase. There was a lot going on that day. I had somebody in that meeting telling me what was going on. There was other meetings going on, so I was kind of bouncing around. I sadly couldn't attend that one. But they said in that room, people were not happy. It sucks. It sucks to say the least. They said we're supposed to get all these promises. Nothing feels like it's getting kept up, and now property taxes are on the rise. And it just
did you speak to any of the city councilmen or members of any of them and ask them what the
they
deal
are
is?
Been very, very lips tight. Of course.
What?
I've tried to have conversations with them while I'm running for office against a person they love. So they don't really want to have conversations with me in general. I hate to say it. My party affiliation doesn't make it any easier for them to want to have a conversation with me. I've tried to reach out to them. The only time I've ever got to have a conversation was one time. They shook my hand. They said, good luck. And that was about it. So I don't really get to have, where other city council people can have one-on-ones. I can have conversations. I can kind of hear what the truth was. They don't have interest in me. Maybe, come November when I take the win, I bet they'll be emailing me and calling me and asking for favors. And I imagine all that happening. But right now they want nothing to do with me. So I wish I could get more of a clear conversation out, especially with some of even the data center stuff. But the property taxes, it's just sad to hear. I mean, I've got hundreds of, messages and Facebook chats and people, especially elderly people too, that are just like, they're already being penny pinched. A lot of them only live on Social Security, and they already haven't paid the county taxes, and now we've got another property tax coming, and I imagine I'm probably going to hear once it comes to place, people losing their homes again.
Ooh, man, that will frickin'. I mean, see, that's
and when the mayor was like, "Well, I already pay this much; it's easier for me," and I'm like, "That's not the point.
Right.
The point is." The area, a lot of the South people are living on a fixed income. A lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. And now you're just adding, it's only a couple $100. Oh, it's only this, it's only that. It's like they're already paying enough for insurance. You're already paying high interest rates with your mortgages. You're already just, it's back to back to back. And now you want new residents to move in who are like, yeah, it'll be great. You also get to pay more property taxes. you're shooting yourself in the foot. It really feels like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Or unless there's a bigger project in mind, you need those people to leave. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is.
I'm going to tell you this, though. Here we go. Like, listen, and then I'm going to talk about this from a real estate perspective. Home prices are going down. Me and Brandon are actually doing our market SIP this week. We're going to put out the housing prices. But, like, I would challenge all assessments. If they're going to charge you based on that, as you saw in the news broadcast, they're saying $300,000, you have to pay $278,000. Well, do you think that your property is overpriced? Well, you need to get it appraised and fight these things because the home prices are coming down.
Because
so you guys are aware.
You can't fight them.
Especially in Rincon, they're going down. Because, I mean, there's days on market are just really long. It's just the season that way. That's why. And we're going to be talking more about that here or later. But, yeah, I mean, just like and like you said, if you just they say your house is worth $400,000, right? And you're still on a fixed income. Maybe you already paid your house off, 10 years ago. You're a senior now. You thought you're going to be good to go, and now it's smack, right?
That's the difference of being able to, keep your home that you paid for already.
Yeah, it's very, very devastating to hear. And like I said, I've known people who one of my residents who lives in Rincon. They were talking about that. They're just like, Dillie, it's getting hard. It's getting real, real hard. And I was like, yeah. A lot of them were talking about, trying to find a way to bring these property taxes down just to give them a little bit more money in their pocket. Of course, the whole point of the data center is supposed to do that. But if you don't qualify for that, then you're just kind of screwed.
Well, Brandon, why don't you grab the chat?
They just kind of said, we're not having to pay property taxes. I was hoping that they would end up, cutting everybody's property taxes. That's what I was kind of hoping for. And instead, it's only if you qualify. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks because we also have farmers in the district. And I was hoping they would qualify under that too. I was hoping the homesteads would qualify under that too. Just to be like, hey, look, especially to the farmer's part, if we're destroying the land near your farm and it might end up spreading or we might end up using more water than what we thought we were going to use or reclaim or whatever they want to say, you're going to end up affecting the farmers in my district. There's still a good chunk left, but every year is dwindling. I was hoping this would expand to them as well, and it was very disappointing to hear that it didn't.
We got Uma giving a TSA over here. Homeowners also need to make sure they file for the Stevens Day exemption. So many people don't do this, and that's why I'm not going. If these cities and counties actually put our accurate budget and could pass independent audits and prove no wasteful spending, I might believe they need for increase in property taxes. Ooh. I didn't say that. Those were not my words. We got more. Yeah, Rincon did change the rules to allow Tricia Boyette to hold a position on the council and Effingham IDA. Oh. People need to stop voting for a party and start voting for a person. Amen, sister. Amen. So we've been screaming.
Oh, here we go. Look at this.
Yeah. Look.
Anybody want a townhome in Berwick? 300 days on the market. Telling you, man, the market is getting hard out there.
Oh, I have a neighbor who's selling their house, and he's had it on the market for at least probably 5 or 6 months now. Now, of course, he's asking like $50,000 over price. He's trying to make a little bit of money on his house, but still, even he's only had like 2 or 3 people look at his house.
Do you know why, David?
Why?
Because he didn't scan them codes down there. You should have scanned the codes. You would have been all right.
Yeah, he don't like me too much because the party lean. So he never wanted to have a conversation. But that's all right.
Well, that's just rude.
I know.
We got.
Huh? Brandon, you all right? He caught a little cold. He's struggling over there.
Sorry, I meant to mute it, but I forgot. This is Carter Burns Homestead Exemption, Effingham. Yeah. What else you got? No one can afford groceries. How the heck are they going to buy a house? Well, we'll help you figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
I know. No, but but the statement's true. Of course, Grocery prices are up. Everything's just up. I mean, heck, when I go to my medications went up $50 here recently. I wasn't happy about that. My insurance keeps going up. They sent me a thing going, your auto insurance no longer covers fire policy. You're okay with that, right? Oh, by the way, we're also going to increase your rates. Like, so you're going to remove something that should cover me, and instead you're going to also increase my rates. Love that. All right, cool. Appreciate it. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you.
Instead of adding and being
It's
caring
just,
about
that's just how it is. It really is. And like I said, I feel like and what sucks is that, I'm supposed to be able to call offices and call, these elected officials and be like, this is wrong. And most of them just kind of shrug their shoulders and just say, well, it's just how it is. Or there's nothing they could do. Or even if they did it, it would take so long that it's just, by the time it happens, there's something new in place. And it's just like, that's one thing I've tried to make sure it's been really about my campaign. I may not have all the answers, but I'm going to try to figure something out. I might try to give you in the right direction. We'll file a form together. I'll get you the facts that I can get you. And that's something I've tried to make very, very clear in this campaign. I had somebody call me the other day. They're dealing with a court case. I'm a state, run for state legislation. I don't know much about court cases, but they didn't know what to do. And I put them, I'm hoping I put them in the right direction, because they felt things were wrong. And so I kind of gave them the resources that I had. And that's the whole point of just really what I want to do is come to me with issues. Let's figure this out. Let's see what I can do. Come meet me at the state capitol. I always say my door will be open on the state capitol. No matter the resident, no matter the time, as long as I'm not voting on the House floor, come visit me. Other than that, I want to try to be open and public and just be around. That's one thing I feel like I really miss sometimes out of our elected officials is just being around. A lot of them kind of hang out in their groups, and you'll see them every once in a while come out and wave and shake hands, and that's fine. But just I want to see you. I hate to say it, I want to see you be a normal person sometimes, and that's something I hope to be here. I hope I'm easy to contact. I hope I'm easy to answer your questions. I miss things all the time. I am human. I imagine there's probably people who are like, oh, he hasn't answered this question yet. It's probably just because I missed it, not because I was ignoring you, not because I don't like you. It's just I get lots of emails. I get lots of Facebook messages, private messages, phone calls, text messages, from elected officials all the way down from, to the richest of people, to the poorest of people, to the furthest residents, the closest residents. Heck, even my own neighbors asked a question. I was like, all right, give me a second. I got a phone call. But I just, I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. And I'm hoping that's something I can really do during my campaign. And of course, when we take the win in November.
I would say I appreciate you coming on our show and being transparent. I mean, it's kind of what
I love being on. So that's what I said. I want to be in the face. Yeah. Oh, that's a great way. They asked a question. Who backs you financially again? I don't recall any bad money. What PAC are you part of? So the only PAC, I have two PAC supports. I have Georgia Conservation Voters. They are they have like a branch of Sierra Club. So they are supporting me because, of course, I'm a big conservationist. And then I have the Fighting 50 PAC. They're another great PAC. I love them as well. What they do is they help Democrats like me, rural Democrats, Democrats that are running what they would call hard R, ruby red districts. In some of these cases, some of these people are running in areas where a Democrat only won 8% to 92. Like, they help from the rurals to people to some of the cities to people. And they're always, like I said, they don't tell me, Dillie, you need to do this. Dillie, no, they just said, look, our goal is to help you get elected, to help beat a long-term Republican opponent in a district that's never had a Democrat. And that's what I love about them. They didn't ask me to endorse anything. They haven't told me to support any of their ideas. They don't tell me what to do. And I love them. Same thing with Georgia Conservation. The only thing they want to do is make sure I protect the forests. That's just any day. Like I said, I hunt, I fish. You're not going to have to fight me on that one. So
I wonder how that's going on Little Neck River.
Yeah. So like I said, at the end of the day, yeah, like I said, I don't have any major PACs. My opponent has got a lot of PAC money. I think all of his donations, like I said previously, is all PAC money again. Still all PAC money. From good to bad PACs. And so we'll keep pushing forward. I'm not raising grand streams of money. I've definitely seen some of these state house seats. I think someone had over $1 million of the support for a seat. And I was like, this is $1 million for a state house seat is crazy, but it's happening.
Yeah,
down here it hasn't. But in other parts of Georgia it has. And it's just like I said, some people really just want to hold their seats and they love that power. They love that thing. And I'm like, I'm just here, y'all. I just want to be as vocal as I can be here for my residents, and that's about it.
You want to hold that as you don't do anything with it. Perfect. Love that.
All right. Well, so now we got Brandon's favorite part of the broadcast here.
Oh, yes.
You ready for this, right? You've done this before. We're just going to judge you based off of your knee-jerk reaction.
Okay, gotcha.
So just, again, one word. You got 30 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, ready, steady, go. Growth.
Challenging.
Data center.
Frustrating.
Block cameras.
Rights.
Infrastructure.
Complicated.
House District 161.
The best.
All right.
That was
Good
easy.
stuff. Good stuff.
That's a good one. That was good.
Well, David, good job on the rapid fire. You killed it. So let me ask you something. Last question. Is there anything we didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
Not a whole lot. I hope to see you guys as I start canvassing these neighborhoods. I start hitting your guys' houses. I think I'm excited. We're excited to see what happens in November. I have people all across the state saying, don't be silly, vote for Dillie. You know, from the highest points of North Georgia to the lowest parts of South Georgia. We have a lot of support. We have a lot of people watching this district, you know, for good, bad, and different. Mostly, I'm not going to lie, the data center brought a lot of that attention. And so we're going to see a lot of people coming this way. I imagine at some point we'll see the public service commissioners come down. I know Warnock is interested in coming down and talking about it. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more, you know, Keisha, or we see John, or we see, you know, I really want, you know, even as a Democrat, you know, people are like, I really want Republicans to also come down here too, you know, and that's something that I want my residents to have transparency on both sides. You know, that's something I really.
You're singing to the choir, man. I'm telling you, we've been inviting every single candidate on, and it just seems like we just cannot get one to come on. I don't understand. Like every time they want to come on, they cancel. I'm not understanding what's going on.
I don't know. I don't know. They just
I know things get busy, but it just seems to be. I mean, I'm not trying to be, but it just seems to be like the ones that are canceling are the ones that are from the other side. And we'd like to be more even too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Don't be that girl, Patrick. Don't be that girl.
Yeah, well, I know.
You need to have signs or people with the make some noise signs, like cheerleading signs. Don't be silly, vote for Dillie. Just running along Quaco.
There you go. Now, we'll be putting signs out here soon. The biggest thing, we have a lot of fears or concerns, I guess I should say. You know, we're going to have some fun, creative signs you guys will see here coming in the next couple months all across the district. But our biggest fear is people are going to love them so much they might steal them. So we're trying to wait a little closer to the election so, you know, people can see them close to the election, of course. But if they get stolen, it's not having to cost us more and more. You know, like I said, we don't have big PAC support. You know, most of my donors still are local people. I've gotten a couple random dollar donations from people around the country. That always kind of makes me laugh. I think I had one a couple weeks ago from Alaska. I was like, $1 from Alaska. Love it. You know, it's stuff like that. It just makes you smile. Yeah, I'm like, I reached somebody all the way across the country. They saw my video. Like I said, I mean, I love it. I love it.
We got nothing else to do in Alaska.
Well, all right. Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. If you guys like what David has to say, share his video far and wide. Even people in Alaska are seeing it. So you guys are doing a good job supporting him.
Yeah, of course.
And David, I really appreciate you coming on. And after you get elected, hopefully we can have you on again, or maybe we have you on again. I don't know. It's a long time.
You know, I'm always willing to come on. You know, you just send me a text. That's all. Just ask someone to come on. I'd love to come on one more time before November. Just gotta get whatever last little jitters we got to get out, and I'm excited.
All right, man. Well, good luck, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Appreciate it, y'all.
All right. Whew, there we go, buddy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff going on. You have anything that you want to say before we let everybody go?
Oh, no. I put all my listings under contract, so I don't know what to tell you.
Nice. Great job. I still have open house in Rincon, so 125 Town Park Drive. If you're looking for a cute townhome in the heart of Rincon, come check out 125 Town Park Drive. Also, I don't want you guys to miss. Okay, so we're doing a contest for a chef tasting for two at the Alligator Soul. If you've not had Alligator Soul, I'm going to tell you right now. Wild game taken to the nth degree. I'm talking about this is a top-notch restaurant. There's only 12 people in this tasting, okay? So you'll be one of the two. If you win this contest, you and your better half, it could be a good first date, anniversary, whatever, maybe in October. But you get to try kangaroo, eel, all kinds of wild stuff. So all you got to do is watch the video, like it, comment, and you're entered to win. So I hope you guys get into that. Watch that video. It's really good. I'm trying to get Bill on there, man. We have emailed him, Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we have been emailing everybody.
My mom even volunteered to email him. We've emailed them so much.
And it's not that, like I said, I know that stuff happens, right? So they got things that's going on. I get it. Okay. But we're going to after this, every Wednesday or Monday night, we email everybody again. So we'll be emailing Bill and Greg and all of them to get them back on the show. So we're going to keep trying to get people on. We're also trying to get Keisha Lance Bottoms on here, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Just make sure you clarify. Your townhome is not the townhome on 300 days in the market. That's not your list.
No, it's not it. But also, hey, I want to let you guys know we have Josh McLaurin coming on September 9th. That will be our first Wednesday night show. If you didn't hear, we're moving to Wednesday nights because we want to deconflict from the Monday night meetings, Tuesday night meetings, and Thursday night meetings. So we're going on Wednesdays. Yeah. We can't accommodate everybody. We want everybody to come along with us, but we're going to have for Lieutenant Governor coming on that first Wednesday. So definitely come back on. Is there anything else, Brandon, am I missing?
No. I think we got it all.
All right. Well, I want to thank Uma, Ivy. I want to thank Bobby, Thunder, Crystal, Jennifer. Hello, y'all. We had some new guys. John Smith, thank you for coming on. Erica, thank you for coming on. You guys all rock. Jennifer, love you always for coming on. Emily, thank you for I got to come get a haircut from Emily here.
Yeah, me too. I need a touch up.
Thank you guys always for supporting us. We love our guest Jennifer from Rincon Nutrition. Go check her out. And I really appreciate you guys watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Good night.